Hey guys, Jungle Jerry back with you here with Tiki71, and today I'm going to start planting. I just got off work. It's a Saturday evening and I've got a ton of stuff to deal with. I got to deal with all this, plus I got to deal with what's in the greenhouse tomorrow. So I need to get started. Boy, the tomato, everything is looking so good right now. It's just absolutely amazing. But especially my squash and zucchini, they're getting huge. I got to get them out of these pots. I need to get them into the ground. And so I thought I would bring you along and kind of show you how I plant a lot of this stuff. I got a couple of little special secret sauce things that I do. Nothing major, but I think you'll like it. So come along and let's get digging. Now, when I'm planting, one of the things I'm going to do, of course, I'm going to water the new plantings in, but I actually give it a little supercharge. I put, it's 2-gallon watering can. I'll put 2 scoops of Miracle Grow in it, and it just kind of gives it a little, to get over the initial shock of coming out of the pots and into big whole ground. So I'm going to do that now. Well, where are you tonight? Why did you met another and you was gone? If you know what that came off of, post it down in the comments below. We had 3 channels growing up and I was forced to watch that every Saturday night. All right, the next thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to sweeten this soil just a little bit. I've got some Azomite. Now what this stuff is glacial rock dust. It's got all kinds of beneficial minerals in it. If you're still watching, thank you, by the way. That was horrible. But it's got some really good properties in it. You can't overdo it with this stuff. I'm going to lightly sprinkle this in and then kind of work it in just a little bit and kind of prep that soil, and the roots are going to love it. Oh my gosh, I can smell the goodness there. It's starting to come through the plant there. Oh, it smells so good. Zucchini and squash, they grow very big. They put up big gigantic leaves. I've got to be careful about how much I actually put into the bed. I'm thinking maybe I could get 1, 2, 3, maybe 1, 2, 3. So I'm probably going to I'm going to really risk it here, but I'm going to try to do 3 squash, 3 zucchini, not necessarily in that order. And then I'm going to use these smaller vegetable cages for them, because it'll actually grow up through it and it'll kind of give it a little bit of protection, especially when it's this small. I'm going to do that for a lot of these plants. I'm going to put cages over them. So if I plant these with some of these smaller cages, now these aren't the giant tomato cages. I suppose you could use it because you can grow these up cages, but this is going to work just fine to kind of protect the plants and also give me something to throw blankets over onto if I really had to do it to protect them. I think we're good to go. I'm 98.5% sure that we're good to go, but you never know. Forecasters can barely forecast 3 days in advance. So I'm going to lay these things out now, and I know that I've got one here with some monstrous roots. I got to find that one. Yeah. Would you look at that? Look at that root. Yeah, she's going in the ground. I'm going to put that one right there. And then I'm going to pick out a couple more that look really good. They were getting really close to the lights too. That's why you see some of that browning there. I'm just kind of picking out the most strongest ones. Would you look at that? Just look at it.
It is so big.
That thing is a monster. Okay, so there's another Zuke there. Now we're going to pick out our squash. And I'm definitely taking Mr. Big Leaves here. We're going to put that one right there. Wow. That's some pretty good roots there, I'd say. And some people talk about worrying about cross-pollinating your squash and zucchini. Your plants are your actual fruit that you get this season. You'll have squash, you'll have zucchini. Where you run into problems with cross-pollination is the future seeds. I got tons of seeds for both varieties, so I'm good to go, and I don't mind planting them close together. And if we get some kind of freaky hybrid, that's okay. Big difference between hybrid and genetically modified. Hybrids happen naturally in the environment. So. And if I have any problems with any of these, obviously I've got about double the amount I'm actually planting here. I think I'm going to leave it like this. This takes a lot of discipline because I really just want to plant this whole thing out. But I can get some pots and I can continue growing these on, and then if the need arises, I can transplant. So I think I'm going to do that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to basically dig out here a section so that I have plenty of room. Then I'm going to take just a little bit more here, because what I'm going to do is I've got a big bag of triple 13 fertilizer. I keep it in a 5-gallon bucket with a sealed lid on top, because if fertilizer gets exposed to the air and the sun, you can lose your nitrogen. It just floats off into the atmosphere. So I put some into a coffee can here that's sealed up. And for all of my planting, this is something my dad taught me a long time ago. Just take you a little pinch, dig your hole a little bit deeper, put a little bit down in the bottom there, and then throw some dirt back on top. What's going to happen now is, as this plant grows, the roots are going to go down through this soil, and when it hits that fertilizer, it'll had a couple of waterings, and so it'll be a little bit weaker and spread out into the soil. But when these roots hit it, boy, they're going to take off like gangbusters. Never fails, always happens. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to very carefully try to unthread my string here. Boy, it is sure enough there. We got good root development going on here too. You see that? This has been this was a seed about just a hair over 2 weeks ago. So we're doing great here. Now I'm just going to push this dirt all back in here, get it put in, kind of pack it in a little bit, put a little bit on top, a little fresh, just a little, and we're in the ground and good to go there. And it's just that hard. Now the next thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my fertilizer sealed back up because of what we just talked about, get it out of the way. Just going to soak her in really good all around here. That'll do there. Now I just got a lot of work to do. I got to make a bunch of holes and fill them. Yeah. I should have mentioned earlier, there is one other thing that I add to this before I till it in, and that is some Biotone starter. I really like this stuff. It's fully organic. It's got tons of mycorrhiza in it. The reason I know this stuff is good is because this smells like dead fish. I'm gonna put a little bit of this in here. Whoa, easy there, cowboy. Just a little bit. It's very light as far as the analysis goes. You're looking at a 433 analysis, so it's very light. The big thing here with this is the root systems love it. I use it on the plumeria, all of the tropicals that I pot up, and I'm going to use it in this now too. And we're going to mix it all in. That's some good stuff. As long as the veggies don't taste like it, we're good to go. And so over here, I'm planting my Swiss chard out. Now, what I did on this first one is I opened it up, looked at the roots, and decided I'm going to put them all in together, and I'm going to take the strongest, let them live, and after a few days to a week, I'll come through and clip off the weak ones if it looks like they're going to compete too much with one another. I've got plenty of room where they can kind of grow out though. But I'm going to go through and do this. I've got rainbow and then the red Swiss chard right there. I'm not doing the triple 13 in this bed because I did the Biotone, and that's going to be sufficient for these fine plants. But yeah, that's it. And if I can get them apart, I'll probably spread them out a little more. But always plant more seeds than you think you're going to need. You're going to make mistakes. Stuff's going to die on you. But you can also have fun with it. Break the rules. Try new things. It's no big deal. As long as you got plenty of seeds and plenty of plants, you can play around with stuff like this and don't worry about it. Too many people have too many rules when it comes to gardening. If you can grow it and you can eat it, you're good to go. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I understand where those rules come from. Other people have made mistakes and they came up with these rules. What I'm saying is sometimes your best experiences and the things that most sear into your brain is when you do and you learn, or when you learn by doing. But have fun with it. It's your garden. Another thing that I'm going to do here and on all these beds is I'm going to leave a path in the center so that I can bring in drip irrigation. I've got all the stuff. I'm going to rig this entire garden up, put it on drip irrigation and have it on autopilot. And I will be doing a video on that from start to finish. So if you don't want to watch that old video of skinny Jungle Jerry from years ago, setting up drip, I'm going to do a brand new one on this. But I am going to do that. If you put this much time and effort into planting a garden and you go on vacation, you could lose it all. And so if you can do all the things possible to set it up on autopilot so that it gets steady and consistent watering, your plants are going to do better. You're going to have less diseases, like especially with tomato plants. One of the reasons you get blossom end rot is calcium deficiency, yes, but it's also inconsistent watering. So if you set up a timer drip irrigation and it has a standard way to get hydrated, you stand less of a chance of getting blossom end rot. So it's good on that end too. It's also a great way to be able to go on vacation and not lose your whole garden. Well, it is the next morning. It's actually Sunday morning. It's Palm Sunday morning. Hallelujah. And I've got to get back to it. Now, I left the plants out overnight in the beds to kind of get them acclimated to overnight temperatures. We actually dropped down to about 49 degrees last night. The forecast was saying we were going to be in the upper 50s, low 60s. They got it wrong, and usually when they get stuff wrong, it's not just once. So I've been watching the long ranges though, and it looks like the coldest we're going to get, and they're forecasting this like 11 days out. They're saying we're going to get down to 38 degrees. I don't know that I believe that, but we should be fine. We're frost free from this point on. So I'm going to get to it and speed it up, and you can watch what I'm doing. The other thing I really need to do today is unload most of the greenhouse, including our palm trees. I've got a bunch of majesties in there and in our foyer that I need to get out as well. So we'll get them out today, give them a really good drink, kind of set them off in a semi-shaded area so that they can kind of harden off after being in the greenhouse. And so at some point I've got to get to that too. I need more hours in the day. Now, I gave all of these pots a really good drink last night before I went to bed with them laying out here overnight. So what I'm going to do, since the sun is up high, I'm going to get everything planted, and then I will come back through when the sun gets off of them and do the watering, just so that I don't burn the leaves. They're already going to go through a little bit of shock from being outside all day, and I don't want to do anything to further that. So I'll wait till the sun gets a little bit lower, gets behind the trees, and then I'll come through and give them their drink. Now, when it comes to the sugar peas, I actually direct sowed several, and I haven't seen any come up until today. I see one little bitty bit sticking its head out there, but I also did a backup and I sowed them in the trays. And so what I think I'm going to do, I didn't do anything to the inside of this bed. I think I'm going to come through with the ones that I have in the trays, and I'm going to dig out and put them to the inside, and then they can climb up on the inside, and the ones that actually come up can crawl up on the outside. But that way we're assured to have a really good sugar snap pea harvest. Kiwi Kate loves those things. I apologize, the neighbors decided to get up at 10:30 in the morning and start mowing across the way. In this bed, I'm going to do bush beans down the center, and then I'm actually going to do watermelon radishes around the perimeter. These radishes grow really, really quickly. I think it's like, let's see, germination is 5 to 7 days, so they germinate really quick and they grow fast. It's a really quick crop that you can grow. These are actually watermelon radishes. They look really cool. Best harvested when they're under 3 inches. And so I'm going to do a perimeter of watermelon radishes and then the bush beans in the center. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing I did with the squash and zucchini. I'm going to use cages to kind of give them some support so when they get heavy, they don't fall over. Yeah, I think we'll do something like that. Green beans. Woohoo! I'm going to try the snap thing one more time. I wish that were real. All right, let's sow some radishes. I'm going to kind of level this perimeter off here. Our planting depth is only 1/4 of an inch. The spacing is 1 to 3 inches, so you got some options there. What I think I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take the old rake here. I could just use a finger too, 1/4 inch. Make some furrows. Well, I thought I had the camera rolling. I went ahead and did 1 row all the way around, and the radishes are now sowed. Watermelon radishes. And now it's time to do the tomatoes. I've got Rutgers in this bed right here. What I'm going to do when I dig the hole out, I'm going to use the Biotone in each hole, but I've also got something else. What I'll do with these eggshells is I will nuke them in the microwave, put them into a little Ziploc bag, kind of crush them up a little bit, and then I take them and put them into a mortar and pestle that we've got, just a little one, and I crush it up into a really fine powder. I'm going to put some of that in each hole as well. That's going to help with calcium deficiency, blossom end rot. It's going to slowly break down, but it's also, because I crush it, it's going to break down a lot faster than if you just take your basic crushed eggshells and throw them on top. We've got storms coming in later tonight, so I really want to get this stuff into the ground here. I've got these tomatoes a lot tighter than you normally would because my plan is to single stem these bad boys with more plants. And I've got a couple doubles growing here. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch off these small seed leaves here and get them off. Made my hole a little bit bigger than I need. And then I'm going to sprinkle some of that all the way in there. Of course, sweeten it up a little Biotone there. And what my dad always did is he would take some of that triple 13, like I was telling you last night, and he'd put it down in there. When those roots hit it, boy, they are going to flat take off. But you throw a little bit of soil back on top and you have a chance to establish before they hit it that way. I could almost divide this, I think, but I don't have enough room to divide it. So in she goes. Just double plant that. If one of them gets weak, we'll take the weak one, but until then, we'll let it ride. Now I just got a few more to do here. By a few, I mean a bunch. Now this one right here, I don't like. It's really, really kind of sickly. It'd probably be okay, but I can tell this one is going to by far outcompete it, so I'm just going to do that right there. I'm going to take those seed leaves off, and we're going to plant it like that. I think what I'm going to do is a little double layer here. Down in the very bottom, we're going to go triple 13. We're going to put a layer of soil over it. Then we're going to do the Biotone. I'm going to take that Biotone, I want it all around the area there. Some crushed eggshells, a little more soil, and then we plant her up. About 2 weeks of roots there. I should have started this, well, with the indoor growing, I actually could have started everything, gosh, early to mid-January and just grown everything indoors and then potted everything up in red solo cups like I used to do. But I got a late start. Boy, that wind is really howling there. Get all watered in here in just a bit. There we go. I'm going to grow them up, and I'm actually going to use Trellis Clips. Let me show you this. In the cucumbers, the tomato beds, and all of that, what I've done is taken me some small coffee deals, drilled some holes in the bottom in case I leave the caps off. But inside, I've got my Trellis Clips. And so as these things grow up, I'll just come around and clip them on like that. and we'll be able to single stem them right up. And I'll just I'll set one of these in each one of the beds, and then as I need to, I can grab clips out and clip them up, mine. And another important thing to note here, tomatoes are in the nightshade family. If you watch my old videos, you know this, but you can put soil right up against the stems of the tomatoes. You can see these little hairs here maybe, but they will grow new roots. So if you hill these things a little bit, you'll actually get more roots on your tomato, and they will be stronger. As these things continue to grow, I'm going to clean up everything all the way up to the blossoms once we finally get blossoms on, to keep soil from washing on the leaves. Right now though, at this stage, we're going to be fine, because once they hit that stuff down underneath there, they're going to grow like crazy and really shoot up. Next up, I'm putting in my beefsteaks and my Brandy boys and some cherry tomatoes, and it's the same process. I'm going to put the cherry tomatoes on the ends of all of my tomato beds, and then I'm going to put the Brandy boys to the right side over here, and then the rest of these front and back will be beefsteak. Okay, all of the tomatoes are in. Now it's time to do bell peppers and sweet banana peppers. I've got a few bell peppers that have just popped, so I'm not ready to plant them yet. They'll go back inside. These jalapenos are going to go in my hotbed on the other side of the cucumbers. All right, I got the bells in. I left a space for the ones that are still to pop. And then sweet bananas are in, got them watered. They were a little bit early to be putting in here, but they'll pop. They should pop right back up. Give them a little drink there. So there we go. Well, the sun is starting to get lower, and I've still got to get these jalapenos in. Clouds are thickening up. The storms are going to be rolling in. I got to do something with the jalapenos and the okra. Figure out where I'm going to put that. Kind of spread them out through the garden. I think they're going to get really tall. And then these little rainbow bell peppers that I left space for, and my cayenne peppers and my habaneros, I'm going to have to take back inside. I need to put them on a heat mat. I actually had stuff already growing when I popped those in, so I turned the heat mats off, but they like heat, so I'll get them back under the lights, put the heat mat, can't talk today, the heating pad back on, and we'll try to get those to pop, and maybe in a week or so we'll get those in the ground. But I'm going to get to work on this. I want to thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. You'll get updates on the garden and the tiki bar and all the other stuff that we do. Thumbs up definitely helps the channel, and also when you share it. Guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Happy growing.